Starting a little bit late today, but we're getting there in the end. Now, one thing that I should be fresh with you guys from the off is that I thought my camera should have been charging all day. It has not been. So we're down to 50% power. I'm going to have it plugged in, but we'll have to see how long it lasts. This is exciting. It's let's see. So who knows? But yeah, so welcome to the live stream. Now, today we are continuing with our exploration of Napoleonic Italy through painting the endless number of models that we have. But I am also going to be, I had a special request. I do special requests to do the truffle shuffle. So I won't really be doing that on camera. What I will be doing on camera, however, is looking at some metal models. Now, we had a comment on my last video. I will go on to apologise for my lack of video this weekend. I thought I had set one ready to go, but and then I went away for the weekend. But it turns out that it had corrupted whilst uploading. So you could see about 3 pixels per shot, which is less than normal, because normally you can see 6. So yeah, no, we were down to it was not good. So unfortunately, I had to scrap that one. I saved the audio, so it wasn't too bad. But yes, so that one's going to be coming out this week, and it's going to be a review of Under Eagles to Glory 3. Tickets are on sale now, so make sure you don't miss out. And what are we going to look at? Well, as I say, I had a comment on one of my videos asking about prepping metal models. So what it was is that he's got some front rank miniatures. Now, they have been bought out by the Gripping Beast guys. And I have heard rumours on the grapevine that their quality is perhaps not what they used to be. So this young gentleman asked me to just show how I would prep metal models. As it happens, I have waiting for me a pack of Gendarme d'Elite. Now this is the command. I've also got some troopers as well. So we will go through the troopers. I didn't realise I had the command. I think that's pretty sick. I think I bought these in a huge lot off eBay. So here is El Horsio. Now you can see he's got a bit of fluff on him. That's from the blister pack. Hello Gruesome. Hello Zukov. Hello Paul. I've got the chat up on my computer, so that's good. So we've got some now. There's 3 areas of things that we can clean up. Well, 4, I guess, actually. So the first one is what we call mold lines. Now, a mold line is where the 2 halves of the mold, so the mold's like this, and it sandwiches together, and then the metal gets poured in the gap, and then when it cools and dries, they get taken apart. Now, most molds these days are what are called spin cast. So they're a round mold. The metal and the sort of the pieces are arranged like this around the outside of the mold, and then the metal goes in the middle. It spins round and it throws the metal, the lead, pewter, whatever it is, out and fills all the crevices. So that's how most of them are made, and they look like something from another age. Yeah, no, they absolutely do. Yeah, it's quite fun to get with metal models when I'm used to using resin and plastic these days. Now, where the two sandwiches parts are, you will get a small line that comes down, so you might be able to see it here. No, I'm not sure you can, but it runs down usually the center of the model. Let me see if I can get these troopers. No, I can't really see it on there either. The belly of the horse. Right, yeah, you can. So it's this line here. So I can see it on the thing. This line here. Now that's going to take. If I use a wash or a contrast paint on this, that's going to become quite clear. Now it's on the belly of the horse, so I'm not too concerned about it. But that's a mold line. You get them on plastic models as well. Hello, Michael. So what we do with that is you can either get a file or the flat of a knife. Now I have 2 knives. on my painting station. I have a sharp knife, which is actually this one. I have a blunt knife, which I use for scraping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one for scraping, and then I will replace the blade in my blunt knife. So this will become the blunt knife. So what we get here is just get the side of the blade and just pull it down in the same direction. So there we go. And I can see the mold line. And as soon as I can see it's disappeared, then I know we're good to go. I'm turning the model over. Now, I would say 99.99% of the time, do it away from yourself like this. The problem is that that's covering the mold line. So, because I've got the front legs of the horse here, that's acting as a bit of a guard, and I'm only doing it gently, and that enables me to get rid of that mold line. Similarly, it's on the front of the horse as well, so I'm going to get it there. I can see it. The camera probably can't, but there we go. That's nice and secure. So that's a mold line. So we can get rid of the mold lines fairly easily. 99% of so we've got a gelding, absolutely. So hello, How. Hello, Clive. So 99.9% of the models that we're going to have will have mold lines in. The older the mold, the worse the mold lines will be. Now, something that is similar to a mold line, but slightly different, is this area here. You can see it in his neck. Now, sometimes, particularly on the Perrys, this can be completely full of metal. Let me see if any of these are. Yeah, so here's a better example. So here, between the horse's head and neck, that's full of metal. And then between the horse's muzzle and this front strap, that's covered as well. Now, this is what we call flash. Now, this is where, as I say, the two halves of the mold get sandwiched together. And this is where maybe it's worn away a little bit and a little bit of metal gets thrown in there. And the best thing to do with those is just go in with the knife and just cut them out like so. So we can get rid of that. As you can see, that's now been cleared. You can use a file or a drill, but you don't really need to. It should be quite a thin metal. Let me see if that's actually flash or if it's just one piece. No, that's just one piece. I thought that might have been flash. That flash there, it was on this one as well. We can see between the head and the reins. Now, somewhere like this is a really common place for flash to occur. So you just get the knife in there, slice it up, slice it down there. Do the same as you do with mold lines, just to get rid of the rest of it. Turn it over. You can see it turn into like a little ball. Cut that out. There we go, jobs are good. I also noticed earlier on, he's got some on the back of his leg there as well. So we can go in with a knife. You might need to cut this rather than just scrape it. You can scrape it, but there was quite a lot there. It was about 1 millimeter's worth. So I'll cut that. And then we can just yoink it off there. So there we go. So that's the second type of cleanup you're going to have to do on metal models. Now, the third one is similar to flash, but these are where the metal actually runs into the mold. So you have them on extremities, these ones usually. So you can see it's there on his hoof. There's one on the opposite hoof as well. There's one under here on his girth strap. Girth is always a great word. There's usually ones here on the corners of the saddle cloths as well. Now that one was folded over. So if I'd not known that, I wouldn't have found that until I was painting. So you see, it's actually quite a big one. I've got quite a few models that this is a mistake I have made many a time. And then we'll do the same here as well. Tease that one out. So it's partially about knowing where the problems are going to be as well. So we've got these ones sorted out. So we'll just snip these off. You can use clippers for this. I prefer a knife because it gives you a more precise area of doing it. Also on the side of the base here as well. So not so important here because this is going to be covered by sand and stuff anyway. But as we're cleaning up the model, we may as well clean those up as well. And then he's got a little bit on here. So we'll get rid of that. So you can see I'm doing as much scraping as I am cutting. So hello, stacking limit here as well. Bit more fluff there. Get rid of it off the back of his Let's have a look off there. Oh, hello, pigeon. I've got a visitor. Now, this part here isn't a gate, but it is a gate. So what it is it connects the foot to the base. Now, this one does that as well. This one does that as well, but this is sort of sculpted to look like grass. This one's supposed to cut off, really. Now, this is quite thick. 99% of the time, I would use clippers on this one, but I don't seem to have brought my clippers up with me. So I'm going to just cut into that there. Cut into that there. I put my thumb there to stop this flying off and hit me in the eyeball. So there we go. Cut off. Jobs are good now. There's a bit of flash on these front legs there as well. So let's get that tied up. Bosh. Bosh. Make sure that you follow the sculpt of the leg. There we are. Now you can see that the legs here are looking a little bit knock-kneed. This is going to be the fourth part of cleaning up metal models, and we shall go on to that shortly. He's got that mold line down the front of his noggin, so let's get that one done. I have to say, of the models I've had recently, I bought some metal Roman dromedarii camel riders, and the amount of flash on them was absolutely shocking. They didn't have many gates, but the flash was absolutely terrible. Now, it looks like here there's a line that goes here. Now, because that's not in line with the mold, that is actually a miscast. So this is where metal is either different temperatures or a different composition has come together, and that's created that line there. So that's actually going to be a weak spot in the model. Now, it's not going to matter because it's quite a thick area. It's probably about an inch thick, maybe 3/4 of an inch. And, you know, the rest of it will keep it in place. But if it were a smaller part, if it were, say, a sword or a musket or something, then that would almost certainly break very easily. But as it is, that's not anything to worry about. I'm going to keep the grass on there. You can chop this off. He's got enough support on the back to keep him up, but he's going to be a little bit wibbly wobbly, so I'm not going to bother with that one. And finally, the last part, and this is the key reason why metal models are still popular, I think, and that is they're quite easy to bend back into shape. Now, as we can see, his legs are a little bit knock-kneed, so I can bend that leg out without too much problem. So there we go, and I can also bend the base a little bit, so he's going to run upright. There's another bit of flash I've just seen there, one of the gates, so we'll chop that off. There we are. Again, you see on that one, I didn't have any hand protection, so I made sure I cut away from myself on that one. This one here is the same. There we go. So that's that horse. He is now thoroughly cleaned, and he is good to go. I can pop him down, and if he stands up, then I know I'm good. He's not stood up, so there's obviously something that needs bending. So it's probably his base here. There's a little bit of flash that's gone onto his base. I can chop that off. Does he stand up? Yes, he does. Fantastic. Job is a good one. Now, these guys are the Gendarme d'Elite. Now, some of you may know who these are. Some of you may not. I will give a brief summary of them. I can't remember if I talked about them in my Imperial Guard video or not, in the Guard Cavalry. But these are, as the name would suggest, Napoleon's policemen. So they were part of the Grenadier Cheval. You see their uniforms are very similar. In fact, you can get them in the Bonnet de Police, which is just quite a useful name. But I thought they were far too cool in these helmets to have them in the Bonnet de Police. These guys would look for deserters. They would so what's the battle I'm thinking of? Dresden. Not Dresden, Leipzig. There was a big bridge, and it was very important about the order that troops went over the bridge. These are the guys who are in charge of who gets to go over the bridge when. Aspre and Essling, probably less so, because it was less chaotic. But yeah, certainly something like Leipzig, these guys were very, very useful. The reason why they are a unit that you can buy, or a set of figures you can buy, is at Waterloo, a squadron of them fought as part of the Grenadier à Cheval. So you can use them one of two ways. The way that I would recommend, and the way I'm not going to use them, even though I would recommend it, is if you have a unit of, say you've got a unit of, I don't know, 8 Grenadier à Cheval, and they come in packs of 3. So I'd get the Grenadier à Cheval Command, I'd get a pack of Grenadier à Cheval Troopers, so I've now got 6, and I'd buy a pack of these to make 8 and 9. So as I say, one of the 4 squadrons was made up of Grenadier à Cheval, so about a quarter would be right. And you could use the remaining model. You could pop him next to a general or something like that, or a vignette, and he can be your guy there. The thing I really like about them are these helmets. I'm not sure I've seen anyone, particularly in the French Empire, who have helmets like this. They're quite tall, actually. They're taller than I thought they were, and they've got a peak on them. So they're a little bit like dragoon helmets, but they're much taller, and they've got the caterpillar. So they're a little bit more like carabinier helmets, but they're much taller than carabinier helmets. So I don't know, they're quite unusual. They look almost Russian. I really like these helmets. So that's what persuaded me. You'll get the bugger of one is flush against the model, and you won't notice. Oh yeah, no, it's honestly, yeah, the ones that are flat to the model like this are absolute devils. No, I hate these ones. So there we go. I think they're called a whirl, aren't they? These little things here. So, and you can tell how sort of how good a caster is by things like, I mean, the flash here. I'm not saying the Perrys are bad casters or that they employ bad casters, but they might need some new molds for their gendarme d'élite. Let's put it that way. Let's get this flash out here. To be honest, these horses, they may just be their heavy cavalry horses. If you look at the actual gendarme d'élite models, there's not much flash on these at all. All right, you've got the connection here to the saber, but that's supposed to be there. Same with the carbine here. There's a little bit of flash on the end of the carbine, so we can get that up. Another place for flash on these Napoleonic models, and this is another one that always gets me, is either on the ends of the coattails, so here, the butt of the musket, so here, although there doesn't seem to be one on this one. The one that always gets me is this little bugger here on the corner of the cartridge pouch. This is where they keep the ammunition for their carbines or their muskets if they've got them. There's usually, or for the Perry miniatures, there's usually a gate there as well. So it's just about knowing your manufacturer, and once you've done quite a bit of prep for those models, you'll know where the sculptors or the mold makers like to put their gates. Claude Vernet painted the best Napoleonic battle scenes, in my opinion. Yes, I agree. Yes, he is very. In fact, he did quite a lot of Franco-Prussian ones as well. And I bought a book. I went to a wargaming show, and he someone had a book for sale of his paintings, and on the inside cover was written 20 quid. And I was like, I think this is worth a lot more than 20 quid. So I said to the guy, look, it says 20 quid. Is it 20 quid? And he was like, well, not really. But he does say 20 quid. So I was like, okay, yep, sold. So I gave him 20 quid for it. And it was an absolutely fantastic buy, that was. So, yes, I'm a big fan of Vernet. I think, didn't he do like naval stuff? I think that's him. But yeah, when I'm looking for images for my my videos, his name comes up quite a lot. But then you've also got to love David as well. I do anyway. I'm a big fan of David. So that's just pokes that one out there. The more flash there is, the more the sort of difficult you've got to it's going to be to get it out. So who's the guy who did all the like the big battle scenes. What was his name? Watto. Yeah, Watto I quite like as well. So although Watto, he's a bit weird, Watto. He does a lot of other stuff as well. You see him a lot on University Challenge. I'm like, oh, is that Gainsborough or something? It's like, no, it's a Watto. I'm like, oh, okay. His father did the navals. Ah, right. Okay, okie dokie. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did Franco-Prussian as well, unless I'm thinking of someone else entirely, which would not be impossible. Assembling the Perry's rifles is fun. Ah, the Plastiche ones. Yeah, they're not too bad because you've got some. You've got sort of two poses, haven't you? But you can swap the parts around. Now he's looking very knock-kneed. He looks like something that you'd put out of a horse race as a ringer. So I don't want to use my knife for this. I don't want to risk snapping the blade, because I'm actually going to try and bend the leg here. So it's the knee that needs bending, really. Oh, Ed, you've not really missed a huge amount, buddy. I'm just talking about preparing metal models and cleaning them up, and how much of a pain in the bum it is. One of the things I love about resin models is that there's absolutely none of this. That's assuming that your resin models are printed, of course. You may be able to hear there is no printing going on in the background today. That's because I'm still having an absolute nightmare with my printer. I'm hoping that some new resin will solve the problem. I've tried pretty much everything else, so yes, I'm hoping that it's a resin issue. Now, as I say, I was trying to avoid using my knife here, but I can't really seem to get purchase. I'm going to leave that for now. I'll come back to it later when I've got some proper pliers, and I can bend them out again. There's quite a bit of flash up here, which I'm trying to get rid of. This will bring a tear to the horse's eye, that's for sure. So what's everyone working on? This weekend I went away and I had a 2-day game of Hail Caesar, in which the might of Rome showed some Greeks who was boss. So how about you guys? Have you guys played any games recently? My favorite painting of Napoleon, it's got to be in his full imperial regalia. Yeah, his sort of imperial painting, I guess you call it. I do like that one. I also like the Bridge of Arcole as well. That painting is quite a cool one. That's not really a portrait of him, but he's in it, I suppose. Plastic Perry eye cover of paint to put together. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Yeah, I think that's one of the times where less would have been better, I think. But I can see where they were coming from. But yeah, oh yeah, no, the painting sheets that you get in there are absolutely incredible. In fact, one of my local wargaming shops, Wargames Emporium, they sell individual sprues. So they'll just buy a box, break it open, and sell the sprues out of that box. And that means that the plastic bases and the the fact sheet that's in there just go to waste. So they sell them for like 10p or 20p or something. And the number I have bought, you would not believe. Even, like the Mardists or European mercenaries from the Middle Ages or whatever, stuff that I'm not really that interested in. But for 50p, I'm like, oh, yes, please. I'll be buying those. Yeah, no, they're all absolutely fantastic. Just a shame the assembly instructions. yeah, exactly. Yeah. You mean you can't tell from this sprue of 50 different bridles which one is the Austrian one compared to the Russian one? You call yourself a wargamer? By God, sir. So one small issue you're having is the mold line running across a very wrinkly surface. When I employ your scraping method, it destroys the wrinkly details. That is an issue. Let me see if I've got any on here. Right, yes, perfect. Parfait, as the French would say. Should I be ignoring these mold lines, putting up with destroyed details, or is there a better way? It's the top of a hat of a campaign dress fusilier. Right, okie dokie. So this here, you can see, he's got a bit of flash coming down his neck here. He's got some on that side as well. This is just after I said how good the molds were. So the best way of doing this, if it were rolls, I'll do it as if it were, is I would get the knife. Well, here's an example. So it's on the side of his helmet as well. There's a mold line there. So you need to scrape the raised bits separately. So that's the helmet done there. Then he's got like a turban on. So that's the bit that goes around here. So you can see there's quite a pronounced mold line there. So there's a turban on there. So just scraping that little area. Not doing the whole thing, just that little area. There we go. When you're scraping as well, angle your knife away from the way that you're scraping. Otherwise, you're just going to dig into it. Now, if the knife's blunt, you can use that to get rid of a larger mold line. This is too sharp. This one would just cut into the metal and it'd ruin the detail there. Now, what I can do is, again, because I know this blade very well, I know that the bottom of it is still very sharp. So I can use the bottom of it to cut into that metal. Go up to here. Trim that off. And then again, I don't want to get rid of his augulets here. So just a very gentle thing there. And then on this side, I'm going to have to be a bit more creative here because his sword's in the way. So we'll pop down to there. If you're doing the top of a Shako, then that's quite a flat area. So I would be tempted to just, again, just use the scraping method. I'm not sure if is it sort of down the side of the Shako where the Shako cover is, because again that can be quite difficult. You just need to do the raised bits separately, and then do the bits that are in the creases separately as well. It is very time consuming. If I'm honest, something like that I would probably only do the command, and with the rest of them I'd just just have it down as a cost of doing business. But if you're wanting to get the absolute best results, then yeah, you're just going to have to do the raised areas separately from the lower areas. It's actually why I rate the Warlord Games Russians over the Perrys, and that's because we were talking about the mold where the molds meet. For the Perrys, that's that's down the middle of the face. They're if the sprue was flat on the table, they're like this, so their faces are like perpendicular, whereas the Warlord ones are facing the sprue, which means you get less fine detail on them, but it means you don't have a mold line running down the middle of the face. Now, I would much rather not have individual hairs in the moustache and not have a mold line running down the middle of the face than have a really nicely detailed moustache that you destroy by trying to get rid of the mold line down the middle of the face. So that's it. It's a bit of a personal preference thing. It comes down to a time versus effect. If it's line troopers, I probably wouldn't bother too much, particularly if you're going to paint them black. Now, obviously, the darker the colours are, the less it's going to matter, because you're not going to see it anyway. I mean, I've got some Cossacks here. Let me see if I scraped them all lines off these. I bet I didn't. Oh, no, maybe I did. Oh, get past me. Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. I used to be very punctilious, clearly. Hello, Heathen. So yeah, if I'm honest with you, mate, if it was unless it's your command, I'd probably just leave them. Particularly if you're going to do them black. If you know that you're going to do some Shako covers like white or undyed linen, then I'd probably spend more time on them. But if I was just going to do them black, to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't bother. Right, so that is those dudes cleaned up. I'm going to take the cotton wool stuff out of the blister pack because it's really annoying and it gets everywhere. They do still need a little bit of cleaning up because these need clipping off. But as I said, I didn't bring my clippers up with me, so they're going to have to do for now. I hope that answers your question, Smidge. I know it's not. I know it's a bit of a thing where you've got to get on with it, and it's not really the most fun part of painting. But unfortunately, it's just one of them things that you've got to get through. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say, I'm afraid. Looking at these Cossacks, though, so these are some Perry's Cossacks that I've done. These are quite old now, so you'll have seen these in many a battle report. One thing I haven't done is painted their scabbards, so let's do that now. While I'm remembered that it needs doing. Here then, he's putting in an order for more Perry Austrians for your army. Well, you literally cannot have too many Austrians. I think that is a rule of nature. That if you think you have enough Austrians, the answer is you don't. You need more of them. Are you going to be painting them as Germans, or are you going to be painting them as Hungarians with their blue trousers? Now, again, they are different models, actually. The Hungarians should be wearing like riding breeches, but mine don't. Mine just wear blue trousers. And I give my Hungarians shakos, which is not necessarily historically accurate. There's some suggestion that the Hungarian units wore shakos at Aspern-Essling, and the Germans were still in their helmets. I don't imagine that's entirely true, but it just helps differentiate the units. So I like it for that. I like it for that reason. Finished rifles assembly, fantastic. Do my dragoons represent squadron and whole regiment, by the way? I'm glad I finished my infantry artillery. I feel like I've gone back to square one starting the cavalry. So we normally... So in my videos, I suggest units of cavalry are 8 models. Me and General Dan usually use units of 12, although there's a battle report coming up where we did use units of 8, much to Dan's chagrin. But yeah, for me, that's a regiment. So 4 squadrons of 2 models gives me a regiment. Now we did also play a cavalry game recently. It was one in the Peninsula, and I forget the name of it off the top of my head. But in that game, we had each unit represented a squadron because we had just cavalry. So I did do a video on difference of scaling of black powder. So you can use a unit to represent whatever you want. It can be a company, or it can be a battalion, or it can be a regiment, or it can be a whole division if you want it to be. Yeah, the what they're designed for really is a normal sized unit is supposed to be a regiment of cavalry. If something is, say, 2 squadrons, you would probably have a small unit. And if it's 1 squadron, for argument's sake, if I'd had the Grenadier Cheval, sorry, not the Grenadier Cheval, the Gendarme d'Elite as their own unit, then there'd probably be a tiny unit of 1 squadron, and that would be 3 to 4 models. Or if I was doing 8 models, it'd be probably 3 models. I'll try and cut into in between the wrinkles. Yeah, I mean, you've got to sort of you've got to do it a little bit impressionistic, to be honest. Unfortunately, it's not ideal, no, but it's definitely one of the things is if you find a manufacturer that doesn't cast very well, or a series of figures that aren't cast very well, it can really turn me off. It can really turn me off that manufacturer. Even if I like the poses, if I like the sculpts, but the casting on them is poor, then I probably wouldn't bother with them. Now, as I say, I don't want to speak for Front Rank. They're a company that I've got a lot of nostalgia for, and I don't want to slag off Gripping Beast because I've not used these new ones myself. But General Dan tells me that the quality of them has suffered a little since they went to gripping beast, which is a shame if it's true. And I'm not saying that General Dan's lying. But yeah, I think that is a bit of a shame if that is indeed the case. So that's that metal done. When that's dried, I will slap some Nuln oil, or liquid talent, as it's also known, on there. But this is something which I've been putting off, but it cannot be denied any longer. We're back to the Italians, and we're back to re-base coating the flesh, so we can get that done. So let me just grab these guys. Now, last time I tried to get a company together. This time I'm just grabbing all the models I can and busting them out. We've got about 20 minutes left. I'm going to undercoat those Gendarme d'Elite. I might finish painting those, or maybe start painting them next week. Hopefully I'll get a bit done over the weekend. But because I've been painting nothing but Romans recently, I'm hoping to paint something else. And their helmets are a bit too Greek adjacent for me. I was reading a copy of Blucher. The poster just lit off. Fantastic. Oh, that's cool. Did you get the cards as well, or just the rules? So, but no, good choice. I'm a big fan of Blucher. The rules, not the man. The man's a douche. No, I'm joking. No. So, as we've had before. Oh, hang on. Sounds like I'm about to get strafed by the Red Baron. Okay, fair enough. That's an unusual one. We normally get an EH-101. We used to get a Chinook that flew over quite regularly. But, yeah, I don't know what this is. I'd say it sounds like a biplane. Speaking of which, I've also been looking at Pendraken. I saw someone painting 10mm Napoleonics. Is that the Warlord ones? I know they're a little bit bigger than 10mm. But are they the Warlord ones that you're painting, or is it actual 10mm? Because I've been looking at Pendraken's World War One figures all day, and that was a horrible mistake, especially as the other partisans coming up, and yeah, so I can see myself getting some 10mm First World War goodies for that. I'm actually writing the figures from the company for Ensign's Resultant. Oh, cool. Yeah, no, they're really nice models as well. I didn't realize they were 10mm. I thought they were 15. So, oh, that's cool. No, they're really nice models. I like those. Yeah, I saw them when I was in Adepticon. Just the shiny hardback book. Well, I mean, that's worth it for itself. I think you can buy the PDF actually of the cards. Which, if you can buy it, I'm sure you can find it. So yeah, that's cool. No, it's a really good game actually. I like the I really like the what do I like? I like how the what's the word I'm thinking of? Attrition sort of degrades your units over the course of the battle. I think that's really cool. No, I'm a big fan of Blucher. I'd like to play it more, but I don't have any of the cards. So I did play a game of it with Alex from Storm of Steel. I shall, now he's got a bigger YouTube channel than me. I shall have to get on his channel and beg for subscribers. Which reminds me, I'm very close to 15,000, so we might have a little giveaway when we get to 15,000. So if you've not subbed, then please do. It does help the channel. And I noticed that there's only one like on the video as well, and there's definitely more than one person watching. So if you could like the video as well, that would be very handy. I don't like to like, share, and subscribe, guys, because it's just lame as balls. But while you're here and we're just chatting, it would be much appreciated. There's I've recently got YouTube Premium, and there's like a jump ahead feature, and I've not been told to like, share, and subscribe in a long time. So I got to think, it's like, is this feature useful? I was like, what's the one above? What's the one that's above, like, more than I can say? It's a 14 now. I'll say, well, it's a 1 on my laptop, so maybe I need to refresh the page. Let me refresh the page. Here we are. Oh, yes. No. My apologies. It is at 14. Thank you very much, everyone. PDF free and download. Bacchus will be getting an order soon. Yeah, no, 6mm is definitely an approach for it. Or, I mean, I played it with 20mm figures. Basically, when the card was flipped over, a dude put like two lots of 4 20mm figures on the card. So that was quite groovy. Switch games still quite popular in the UK. Question mark. There are no clubs for the setting in my large US city. The wife and I are relocating to the UK within the next year, so I'm looking for a stab-proof vest. All right, now hoping to join in. Oh, okay, excellent. I can only speak for my club, and I would have to say no. But there's an important caveat to that, which is I don't see many people coming down and playing it. However, I do know of at least half a dozen people in the club who, if I said, let's organise a game of Blucher, they would be up for it, even if they couldn't provide the cards or whatever. You know, as I say, I know Alex has got them, so he would. But yeah, no, that's cool, Smitch. Whereabouts do you know whereabouts in the UK you're looking at relocating to? So if it's anywhere near, then I pop in and see us. If it's anywhere before February the 28th, then you need to get yourself a ticket for Under Eagles to Glory 3. So, Tim, who is Napoleonic? Well, he's very popular. Oh, well, thank you very much, David. I mean, I'm not quite Mr. Beast levels of popular yet, but you know, I'm just waiting for that one video to break through, and then I can go and spend 24 hours in the pyramids on my own and see all the awesome things. And that is literally all I know about Mr. Beast, is that he went to the pyramids. I'm sure he's done other stuff. Didn't he dig a well in Africa as well? Isn't that a thing that he does? I probably won't do that, but but definitely visit the pyramids. 100% down for that. Luke's in Southeast London. He knows 3 clubs that play Napoleonic. I'm assuming that's the Selwig, the South, and I don't know any other clubs actually in London apart from Selwig. So the Southeast London Warlords group, aren't they? I think, or something. Or is that a separate one? Am I getting my People's Front of Judea mixed up with my Judean People's Front there? I'm also working on a Royal Navy crew for Blood Bay. Oh, that's from Firelock Games, isn't it? So I have not picked that up yet, but I think I probably will. Yeah, there's a chap at the club, James. I've not seen him in a while, actually. I wonder if he'll be a partisan. He should be. And he likes his stuff like that, so I shall have to speak to him about it. But anything that gets ships on the table, particularly if they're in 28mm, I am 100% down with. Bexley Reapers, just outside in Gravesend. Oh, right, cool, okay. So... yeah, no, I mean, there's clubs around. It's interesting that when I listen to YouTubers, particularly around 40k, who they all play in like Games Workshops or in their like stores. The US doesn't really seem to have wargaming clubs like we have in the UK. And I think that's probably because in the UK we like our clubs because, you know, it's just kind of what we do, isn't it, really? I don't know if that's such a thing in America or not. I genuinely don't know. But no, that's cool. I mean, it's good that there's so many in your area, actually, Luke. I mean, we're lucky that we've got a few shops here that have sort of got their own clubs, but they tend to be fantasy. Well, obviously mainly 40k related. I guess the distances in the US are a lot bigger as well, so I suppose there's that as well. Moving for my wife's career, we've heard it's like to be London. Okay, well, good luck. Yeah, that'll be super cool. It's only a short train ride or drive up to Derby, though, for Under Eagles to Glory 3. So I look forward to seeing you there. No excuse not to, although I haven't said that. If you've got an army of entirely front rank, then it might cost more to bring that over with you than it does for your own airfare. We don't have the house space. Well, there is that, actually. That's a fair point. Yeah, no, that is a fair point. There's a lot more space in America than there is here, that's for sure. Yes, everyone in my local game store wants to play World War II, if any historical games are. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I was looking at Historicon for next year. I don't think I'm going to be able to make Historicon or Adepticon next year, but I must confess I am looking at going transatlantic for another game show. I really enjoyed Adepticon, and I'm quite keen to go to another one. To be honest, it's looking more likely I would go to Adepticon again, because it's got the tournament scene, so I can guarantee myself to play like Epic, Warmaster, Team Yankee, Silver Bayonet if the Goonhammer, let's say, people are putting it on again. So yeah, so with Adepticon it seems to be a little bit more dialed in. If I'm going sort of 3,000 miles, at least I can be guaranteed of some games then. No space to go 6 mil. It's cheaper too. Well, that's true. That's true. Although, see, the problem is though, David. Now this is where it comes into it. Is you say it's cheaper. Now I get where you're coming from. So in 20 mil, you know, a box O figures, 28 mil, a box O figures is say 20 quid or 25 quid. And you could build up your division. As we've seen in my getting started videos, your divisions are going to cost you 250 quid. Now in 6 mil, a brigade is going to cost you a tenner, for argument's sake. But if I'm playing 6 mil, I don't want a brigade. If I'm playing 6 mil, I want like the Grand Army. So it just means I've got to paint a load more models. That said, I have just ordered. Oh, yes. This is a big public service announcement. If you weren't already aware, Warlord Games currently have a sprue sale on. Now, a lot of people don't like Warlord Games minis. I think most of the time they're being unfairly harsh. I think some of the Warlord Games minis, Household Cavalry, for instance, are absolutely abysmal. I mean, beyond abysmal. But many of their sprues, I'm thinking line infantry for the Brits, the Russians, the French, are fantastic. Particularly their greatcoat ones are all great. I bought some Epic stuff. So all the Epic stuff's in the sale as well. So that's all half price. I bought myself for around about 50 quid. It might have been a little touch over 50 quid. I bought the equivalent of 2 boxes of infantry, a box of heavy cavalry, and a box of light cavalry. So that's good. And I also bought myself some Ashigaru as well, because I want to sort out my second samurai army. I'm going to do these in the black and white color scheme. My first one is the E clan, who look badass in their red, and these guys are going to be, I think it's either Odin the Bunga, who's white and black, or possibly the Takeda. But that's who I'm doing them as anyway. And I can't wait, so I'm looking forward to those. 6 mil is so much quicker to paint though. They are. I mean, 6 mil. I'm not going to lie. I do like the look of a 6 mil army. As I said before, when they're on the bases and you've got like the say it's a unit cavalry, you've got 2 like ranks of say 10 cavalrymen on a base, and then you've got the officers posted out the front and stuff like that. They do look awesome. I'm not even going to pretend that 6 mil doesn't look awesome, because it does. There was a spate at the club for a while of people getting into 2 mil, which I mean that was a little bit much for me. Again though, Paul, who was doing it, he did some absolutely awesome paint jobs on like shields and things like this. He was all ancient and like medieval. He did some awesome paint jobs for it, considering the models are 2 mil. But yeah, no, I think 10 mil is probably the smallest I'm going to go for anything pre 1945, I think. I do like 6mm for Team Yankee, though. I'm not going to lie. I play Team Yankee in 6mm. So, in fact, looking around, do I have anything with me? I don't think I do. No. But yes, I'm also looking at collecting. Well, I've got the collection in 15mm. I should sort it out into an army. But yeah, I usually use micro armor 6mm. So you get an army, not a couple of divisions, multiple core for about £100. Okay, okay. I thought they were a bit more expensive than that, but yeah, no, that's fair enough. I went to the Joy of. I don't know if you've ever been to the Joy of Six up in Sheffield. It's the show that's run by Bacchus or put on by Bacchus. I did go there this year, and I didn't really find anything that tickled my taste buds particularly. But no, I can definitely appreciate it. It's not. I'm not bagging on it. That's for sure. I just prefer the larger scale. The spectacle of the larger scale. Well, I mean, well, 6mm has its own spectacle as well. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, I do like a 28mm figure. I love the original Space Marine though from the 80s, which was 6mm, so I got used to the scale, and that's also fair enough. In fact, actually, yes. So I did lie. Well, I kind of lied when I said about the 10mm thing, because I am absolutely obsessed with Epic Horus Heresy at the moment. So I am painting 6mm Horus Heresy. Well, 8mm Horus Heresy actually. Yeah, no. That's so. But I did say pre 1945, and that is 30,000 years in the future. So, so I didn't entirely lie. So there you go. Now these guys I've got some breakages in my box here. Now you know what? I'm still going to put him in anyway. I don't necessarily mind. This guy, he has fired his bayonet, and it wasn't secured properly onto his musket. So he's going to get painted anyway. And he's got his epaulets on. He's a light infantryman, this guy, right? Okay, that's cool. Because he's got no big plume, though, he will be a light infantryman in a line regiment, I think. A V-light, or Velite, or however it's pronounced. Now, the light actually is not too bad at the moment. On the camera, it's actually getting pretty dark in here. I think I'm going to have to start putting the light on sooner, which I don't like to do because it's got a very yellow cast to it. So I might get a daylight bulb. But I'm afraid if I do that, then it's going to get rid of my nerd cred. Because, you know, how can I be in daylight? I need to be hiding in the dark. So yeah, no, this is just more skin tones, more re-undercoating for those of you who are joining late. There we go. I've been kit bashing Thalax for Heresy. Oh, cool. Okay, what have you been what you been kit bashing them with? Hello, Armads. I've managed to assemble 8 rifle and 3 metal line. Well, that's good. Gruesome. Good. Good going. It does, David. Yeah, I mean, yeah, with terrain and stuff, it can look absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I'm absolutely not denying it. Use 28mm, but stand far. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, if you're far enough away that the 28mm figures look 6mm, then that's about the distance that my paint jobs look acceptable as well. So there is also that. So let's not override that. I have a plan to get back into Black Powder next year, starting with the French and Austrians and maybe the Russians. Just the generic raw battles to begin with. Well, if you need a deadline, the 28th of February, Under Eagles to Glory 3, or the end of September, is the new Epic Scale event, which is also happening at Boards and Swords. I confirmed the date last weekend. So, yeah, that's you've got a whole year for that. So there's no excuse. You've got plenty of time. Just paint some Duchy of Berg mounted horse hide. Ooh, very nice. I bet they're very tasty. Are you going to bring the Berg to Under Eagles to Glory, Clive? You know you want to. I'm in the United States of Freedom. Come on, man. I went over to Adepticon to play War Master and Epic. I will hear no such excuses, sir. But no, that's fair enough. I'll let you off. So, I'm stuck there, Tim. I've bought an Empire army for War Master, and I'm stuck with which state to paint. Oh, mate, you are talking to the right guy. Now, the question is, what do you want in your army? So, I started off with an Ostermark army, purple and yellow. Gotta love a bit of Ostermark. I could also add this is when the Kislevites are in the book as well. So I thought, yeah, that's cool. I can have the Kislevites in there. Stirland, not a huge fan of. Green and yellow is an interesting color scheme. Makes them a little bit look a little bit like cheese onion crisps. But they were the guys who fought Manfred von Karstein at Helfen, and I have an obsession with the Battle of Helfen. So Stirland's a possibility. Altdorf, I see. Altdorf is an interesting one because you can have Altdorf and Reichland. So Reichland are white, Altdorf are red and blue. My Empire army that I'm just about to paint is going to be Altdorf, so I'm going to do that one red and blue. But that said, the idea of sort of the capital is a little bit too much like having an army of Londoners. I'm not really sure. Yeah. So it feels rough, but that is what I'm going to do. Middenheim, blue and white's a nice one as well. If you like yourself some Knights of the White Wolf, you could go with them. Tabel Clan was the one that Games Workshop went for. That's white and red, which looks okay, but it doesn't quite do it for me. What other ones can I think of? Ostland, black and white. It's pretty cool. They've got like the red bull is their symbol. So that looks quite good. Yeah. If you're crisp and green, don't eat. That's true, yeah. If you let me, yeah, of course I will, Clive. Working on building a box of Perry miniatures French plastiques. I found while clearing out my pile of shame. Not sure whether I paint them as French, Italians, or Naples. Ooh, you got a good mix there. I mean, I leave it up to you, sir. You could also do the Irish as well. Don't forget the Irish Legion. If you need a little bit of inspiration, you can check out my my series on the Irish Legion. I mean, how could you not want Major Byrne in your army? That's the question. No, these are going to be Italians. These guys have got bear skins on, so these guys are going to be these are line grenadiers. So they're not guard. They're just going to be line grenadiers, which is why they've got the white gear on. Some of these light infantry, I'm probably going to end up painting green, to be honest. Purple for the option of painting Death's Head. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, the black and red. Yeah, that's a good choice. That's a good shout, actually. Ostermark would be my go-to. And a part of me feels a little bit guilty I'm doing Altdorf instead of Ostermark, but I think I'm going to stick with Altdorf for this one. But yeah, Ostermark's a great choice as well. Of course, you can always do if you've got, for argument's sake, your general, a wizard, and a hero, or maybe two heroes and a wizard, you could always do a brigade of troops as Ostermark, or as, what's next to Ostermark? Stirland, or something like that as well, as if they're an allied army. So you could always do that as well. You saw the guy on the left with the helmet on. All right, these guys are the Gendarmes d'Elite with the helmets on. So they are French heavy cavalry. People seem to dislike the Warlord plastics. Is there a reason for that? I think there is. I think that people don't like them because they don't like Warlord games, because they think Warlord games are too close to Games Workshop. If I'm honest, I don't think it's anything to do with the quality of their models. I think people get in their bees in their bonnets and they don't like a company, so they say, oh, well, their figures are rubbish. When actually they're not. They are quite nice. That said, some of their models are not very nice. They're British cavalry, for instance, and their French hussars and their French lancers are absolutely dreadful. But I think their other models are actually pretty nice. They're British infantry and French line. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. I mean, again, if you can get the sprues half price, I think you're wanting to raise an army and you've got the money, I think you'd be a mug not to get multiple units of them, if I'm honest. Sadly, the Kingdom of Holland packs of voltigeurs are inaccurate. Oh, you're out of my wheelhouse there, I'm afraid, brother. I'm not really sure I know much about the Kingdom of Holland. I did paint some. Oh, what were they called? The manufacturer. They're like really true scale, really nice. I did get some of their grenadiers and paint them up as Dutch grenadiers, but I can't remember what it was. The Warlord figures tend to be worse value than something like the Paris. That is true. That is true. And there's less. There are less options. If you can get them in the sale, though, then absolutely, I would go. I would go large on the Warlord. I'm waiting for payday, and I may even go in for some more Russians. I've got a ridiculous number of Russians that I've bought in sprue sales, but you can't say no. I do mean the 3rd Regiment de Grenadiers de la Garde Imperiale. Indeed, I do. But that was after they were inducted into the Imperial Guard for like 2 weeks. Yes, no, yes, that is in fact what I mean. Yes, there's a loss of black powder product. How do you feel about non-historical Mexicans versus French, Prussians versus Austrians? I absolutely love it, Armads. I'm working on a Franco-Prussian war, Prussian army against the Zulu War British, with some Crimean War Russians and American Civil War Americans thrown in. So that's a project that I'm quite excited to work on at the moment. So that started as a 2nd Regiment of Grenadiers. Yeah, they did. You can check out my video on the Old Guard for that one. Well, chaps, the camera has held up well. And we have gone over 7 o'clock. So I'm going to have to knock it on the head here, guys. Thank you very much. Warlord Art Backers support Sheffield manufacturers. That's true. That is true. I do, and I support GMB Designs as well. Thank you very much for joining me tonight, guys. We've got quite a bit done. I hope that gave you a little bit of help in the metal minis. I understand. Yeah, I get that the sort of the folds and stuff make it a little bit more difficult, Smidge, but unfortunately, it's one of those things where you either accept it or take the time to scrape them off. It's not great, to be honest. But thank you, Gruesome. That's really nice, kind of you to say. Thank you, Interguard. Cheers, Luke and David. Short but sweet. Well, it was nice to have you here, though, David. But I shall hope to see you guys next week. There is definitely going to be a video this week because there's no reason for there not to be. Although I am spending Bury on Saturday. I'm off to Bury to play in an arcade all day, so I'm ridiculously excited about that. But I will see you guys on Sunday, and for the live stream I shall see you guys next Wednesday. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.